so much, everyone, for staying with us on the program. So the People's Democratic Party, PDP presidential candidate Atiku Abubakar was in Lagos earlier today for the PDP's presidential rally at the Tafawa Balewa Square in Lagos. And the campaign was to woo voters to vote for him and his party and the candidate of the party in the state. Mr. Atiku has pledged to privatize the nation's refineries if elected as president next year. The PDP candidate said that he will earmark $10 billion from the refinery sales to empower the small and medium-scale enterprises of young Nigerians. Take a listen to Atiku Abubakar in Lagos.
If you elect me as the president, I said and I promise, by the grace of God, I am going to set aside $10 billion so that we can empower our young men and women in small, medium enterprises. People were asking me, why am I going to get 10 billion? If I privatize Port Harcourt refinery, Wari refinery, Kaduna refinery, I'm going to get the money. So, let me also promise you, if you elect a PDP government, we are going to restructure this country. What do we mean by restructuring? We will give your states and local government more powers and resources. It is up to you to hold them responsible.
That's Atiku Abubakar earlier today in Lagos. But also, today was another very interesting event to perhaps officially receive a former Speaker of the House of Representatives, Honorable Yakubu Dogara, back into the PDP. You remember that he left at some point when he left APC, but he's now returned to the PDP. Take a listen to him.
I want to assure the people of Lagos that for us, it is the unity, peace, progress of this country that borders us. And we have looked at all the tickets, and we believe it is Atiku and Okowa who will deliver on the great promise of this nation.
Well, so there's been a lot of criticism from Mr. Dogara's action. Don't forget that Babachi Lawal, Yakubu Dogara, they've been the leaders of the northern Christians who have been very critical about Bola Tinubu and Shatima ticket on the issue of the Muslim ticket. And now Babachi Lawal had rooted for Peter Obi. Now Yakubu Dogara endorsing Atiku Abubakar. Well, there's been some reaction, and it's coming from the River State governor in some Wike. Take a listen to him.
What I want to tell the presidential candidate of PDP, we mean peace. We want all of us to be together for the party to win an election. But let me say clearly, if your boys again continue to attack the G5, continue to attack the leaders of our party, we will strike back. We will strike back. If anybody again dares in the PDP President Campaign Council to insult the PDP governors of G5, insult our leaders of Integrity Group, we will fight back. Enough is enough.
There you have it. Let's talk more about this, the development in the PDP, the presidential campaign of today in Lagos State, the return of Yakubu Dogara back to the PDP, and the endorsement of Atiku Abubakar, plus the reaction of Mr. Wike on Dogara and any other person in the PDP. Let's get talking. I have joining me governorship aspirant in Ogun State. He's reminding me that he's Otumba Sowunmi. Thank you so much for joining us tonight.
Sure,
appreciate it.
Good evening. It's nice to be here.
How far with your governorship ambition? Is this still on?
We'll come to that in a second.
No, just a moment.
It's on. It's on. Very much on, yes.
But there was judgment.
There are quite a lot of judgments. Some of them have been, the other guys have lost out. Maybe they will appeal, I don't know, but my case has not. But
momentarily, Ladi Butu has been declared by the court last week.
You see, if you ask a question and you don't want an answer, then it's hard.
No, you answered. I'm asking the follow-up.
There are many cases You win some of the cases are by Jimmy Lawal, some of them are some other persons, some of them have not gone as envisaged. Some of them have options of going further, I don't know. But my case is still in Supreme Court, it's not been called, and I think it will be successful.
All right. Thank you so much for clarifying.
Now let's go to serious business.
So Ogun said it's not serious business.
It's serious business, but let's do, like, you've taken a lot of time with Dele Alake.
Is that his time? Then you will have your time.
No, let me have my time. I don't want to do banter. I want to do
calm down. I see that you've been shaking since you were listening to other conversations. Let's get to it. The Keith and King of Mr. Dogara had said, look, the departure from APC is self-serving and is not going to be missed. What does Dogara add to your party by joining and endorsing Atiku Abubakar?
Thank you. Before I get to the Dogara question, I would like to respond a little bit to the Dele Alake comments. You see, people don't understand what exactly is supposed to be gained in presidential debates. I suppose anyone who wants to lead a nation must subject himself to the inconveniences of answering tough questions at home. I'm utterly disappointed that in spite of the disdain with which they are, received and treated media houses, I heard some of the unpleasant adjectives they're using to describe media houses in Nigeria, and yet they run to some independent policy institute in London called Chatham House, and they want to go and talk about Nigeria. I feel that we must never sell ourselves short as a nation. Whereas I do not have a problem with people doing international engagement, I take very serious objections to people thinking that they're too big, they're too entitled, they can bully the entire system and prevent legitimate organizations in Nigeria to call them. If you don't come, they are not going to force you, but it speaks volume of how you see yourself relative to everybody you're asking to listen. So I think that that's absolutely unacceptable. He was also saying a lot about people maybe maligning them or not focusing on the issues. Not so. Bola Tinubu and his team made his health status an issue when they chose to, when he was doing his knee surgery, converted it into a big event. When he came home, when he wants to walk, they are doing like they want to hold him so that he doesn't fall down. He's at private meetings, they are video recording him secretly and pushing it out there. What exactly were they expressing? They caused it for themselves. And when the candidate now began to go on public engagements and he was fidgeting, his hands were not going as well as they should, and he was making mistakes that Bola Tinubu would never make. He wants to talk about perambulation, he go blah, blue, blah. What's all that? And it wasn't once, it wasn't twice. So if it's like that, they have to look themselves in the mirror and know they cost it for themselves and not begin to stay in a foreign land on an organization that is not even up to the status of the Nigerian Institute of Policy and Strategic Studies and begin to pretend as though all of the other organizations within the country, Nigeria, is not up to standard or cannot question them. And I think the media must be very firm on that. We will not have anybody who wants to serve us begin to give us the impression that it's bigger than the collective. So whatever it is that Dele Alake is talking about is hogwash. They need to come back home and start attending events. Atiku attends events in spite of the fact that he has been contesting for a while. So typically, Atiku could say, oh, my views are known, therefore if you call me, I won't answer. But he painstakingly attends it. And when you ask him questions, he answers. When you ask him questions that ordinarily some other person will say, oh, this is below the belt, he gives as honest an answer as possible. That's how you know those who don't consider themselves too big for all of us to try to do that on that. When they come back home, they should come and answer channels. They should answer Rise TV no matter how annoyed they are. And that insinuation of people blackmailing them, nobody's blackmailing you guys. You guys are the ones who are even known for underarm tactics when it comes to the way the state of the place. The only thing that has happened is that you are thinking that you are going to be coronated, like you were coronated in your primaries, and good materials were prevented from participating or even probably even represented, so that all of us will not be ashamed, and therefore the media will not be cowed. That's that. Now back to the Dogara matter. Politicians, from time to time, take positions. Sometimes you can even say based on selfishness. But oftentimes than not, what you must use to decipher whether this politician is being selfish or this politician is being acting on conviction is the reason he gives. Because the heart of man is so difficult, you can't deconstruct it. Dogara's reason is very clear. He's a high-standing member of the church. We have always run a balanced ticket in this country because we have, by estimate, close to 80 million Christians. They come from a minority stock in the north, and therefore these issues will be a bit more germane for them. And if they feel very strongly that, look, there's nothing wrong with our party, that's their party, according to them, but we do not accept that you're going to have a Muslim ticket and give the impression that there's nobody in the Christian north that can add value to a ticket. If they are angry and they want to leave, they'll be right to leave. And if Dogara comes back, he's most welcome back. He's going to bring some value from his constituency. He's been winning elections. Those who went to sit down in one corner claiming that he doesn't bring anything will count the vote and see how it goes. So as far as I'm concerned, I prefer people who don't move, really. But movement can be inevitable. Is Dogara supposed to go when he feels that, oh, Christians are being taken off the ticket, especially northern Christians? Is Dogara supposed to lie down there and just die? No, he's not supposed to do that. He can go. And the fact that you said one of them has gone to Labour and the other is coming to PDP, it's a matter of choice. Those parties are parties that at least have balanced ticket. And Dogara must have felt, no, I'm coming from the northeast. We've never produced president. There are other reasons why I will be here. I'm more comfortable here. I'm used to Atiku. I'm used to Sagraki. I'm used to the entire house. So I won't feel too much like an alien. So that's that on that. But frankly speaking, this election must be elevated to a point where we will ask ourselves, who has the gravitas, everything considered, to manage these problems that is staring us? Whatever it is that we call the challenges of the country today is still a tip of the iceberg. Our major concern must be, if we do not manage these symptoms, if a sure, battle-tested general like Muhammadu Buhari is struggling with insecurity and we still can't find an easy silver bullet to solve it, then we must stop deceiving ourselves that it's easy and look at who has experience, who has the gravitas, who talks about the critical, important thing, which really is restructuring. If we are just giving ourselves the opportunity of state police and probably local government police, maybe we would have been able to confine some of these security challenges to some location. All right, but if you convert the 2023 election to a situation where the candidates will not make themselves available for questions, except they organize their friends in the town hall meetings who'll be patting them at the back and they'll be speaking. He went to Chatham House, he was reading by teleprompter, I listened in, they wanted to ask him questions, he filibustered as ever, I will give it to this, I'll give it to that, I'll give it that. You almost get the impression that their candidate goes around the world and thinks that everywhere is Lagos. And when they say, oh, I've done it before in Lagos, I've done it before in Lagos, the reason why you can't take the experience of a state government to give you any great advantage when you come to running a nation like Nigeria is because of the depth of the diversity. A program you put in the Southwest and everybody will be happy with it may not be exactly received that way in the North. It may not be exactly received that way in the Southeast. Let me ask
you, there's been a lot of reaction since your candidate. That is not the first time he's saying that anyways.
What's that?
His position on privatization, which has been criticized by your opponent about is leaning towards, he said it in 2019, and the reaction that followed from the opponent was that he was going to sell the whole government and the whole nation's assets to his friends. And this again has come up about the plan that he has, should he become president, to sell the three refineries, Warri, Port Harcourt, and Kaduna, and sell it. These are some of the views of your candidate, which has gotten reactions, and people wonder, does it matter to him what the nation owns or what other people own in the name of the nation?
Bless you for that question. Please let me calmly try and explain the perspective. We have had our refinery, our NNPC for years. And other nations too have hydrocarbons, the Brazilians, the Americans, even the Saudis. And we have seen over the years that our case has been a great embarrassment. Even in terms of supplying the commodity for local consumption, we haven't seemed to be able to do that. We're not making money from the asset. They're not pulling their weight. And we're seeing that Aramco is privatized and they are doing well. We're seeing that Petrobras is privatized, they are doing well. We're seeing that other countries don't have that governmental structure. And please, 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 privatization does not really take the asset into another man's country. In the finest sense of the word, privatization is a clever language to say you want to bring in foreign money and foreign expertise into your system. And therefore, you are going to remove the bureaucracy that gives people that are appointed the entitlement to treat it like a national asset or a national cake and not get value. That's what the man has been saying. And Atiku has never been someone who is afraid of holding a point of view that is tough. Atiku has been talking about restructuring that I know since 1999. And you know, coming from the north, that conversation couldn't have been that pleasant, but he never stopped. Atiku started saying, this oil thing is not working, it's not working. We're not making money, we can't supply, we're doing equalization, we're just burning money, we're doing subsidy. We need a new model. It didn't have to be popular.
The question
now
is,
everybody now knows. The answer to your question is this. Some aspect of business, government has no business being in it. You can do a privatization and still float the equity, which will mean that Nigerians can buy in it. There are many models. Don't get the impression.
The question is whether he has led privatization in the past. Has those privatization process...
All of the...
Just a moment, let me land on the third. Has those privatization worked? Were they successful? Were they priced at the right value?
Yeah, okay. This question of price, let me explain how that works for you. It's like an auction.
Are you explaining on your own?
I am explaining.
You're speaking the thought of your principle.
When people call me former spokesman, I just laugh and I allow the people that are working now to have some gravitas in public space. I'm still the spokesperson. Yes, I'm telling you.
It's not official yet.
It has always been. I was never decommissioned. There was really no need for me to come into public and say, I'm the spokesman. No. We have new people come on board. We should give them some space to put in something. But please note, I am the spokesperson of His Excellency Waziri Atiku Abubakar.
So I'm asking,
the words I'm giving you,
on the issue of assets and the price value.
The word I'm giving you are as a result of long-term knowledge of the policy direction. He's not telling you that when you want to privatize, you first of all have to know that the first thing you do is that you are cutting your waste. Because you don't even have to keep putting in money. Then you are going to advertise it. It's like at an auction. When you want to, on the day of the advertisement, the man with the highest bid is going to win. Even if it may appear as if the price is low, what you must calculate is that, okay, you've cut your losses, new money is coming in, safety is coming into it, better value. Take the telecommunications, for instance. Would you take the banks? In the beginning of this republic, we used to take tallies to come and collect our own money from banks. People failed this bank. When you want to take even as little as 20,000 in the bank, you could be told to come the next day. It was privatized. We now have banks that can compete in Africa, that are leading up, because some will be successful, some may not. The ones that are not successful is a reflection of the fact that businesses can fail even in the hands of private hands. But it doesn't matter. It does not substitute the fact that government cannot run
where
business.
Where I'm going is the fact that if your principal had said, I sold, albeit, or privatized, I led the privatization process, albeit, they were actually giving out below the valued price.
I just explained, Sean.
No, the question is that there were mistakes and that being acknowledged.
I think we can't even be held responsible, but I can tell you for free. Go and read The Accidental Servants by Nasir El-Rufai. Look, a leader carries a lot of version responsibilities that he can't come and say, I'm not responsible. He has to take it. And Atiku has demonstrated that he has the ability to take it in the chin. When he was in charge of privatization, it didn't mean that he was the one that had to sign up on everything. And he never interfered. But if you're going to take the credit, suddenly you're going to take the blame. And I've just told you, we sold the one in Ikotekwene. That's one thing that gets thrown in my face. And it's not working yet. But what about the one in Ajakuta? Why is it not working? There are many reasons why some of these big multinationals can't, you know, they can't fly like that. Have you ever even thought for a second that why would Nigeria as a nation be putting in so money, Obasanjo putting money, Buhari is putting in money, and there we don't have full power? Have you contemplated that sometimes there are even conspiracies against us? Have you contemplated that it's possible for somebody to take the asset? Okay.
Thank you
See,
so
I'm
much,
trying to say to you, Shehu,
we've got to
we didn't
go.
have enough time for this.
So what you're saying
my
is that...
last word is this,
yes,
on this.
Go ahead.
Let us not pretend as if you had a big economy in 1999 to 2007. The economy was very small and depressed. And let us be calm to know that between 2007 till date, Atiku didn't have any hand in what happened to the country directly. And when he says he wants to lead now, I guarantee you he's the best man for the job.
Sowunmi, he's told us now that he's still the spokesperson.
Yes, I am.
Thanks so much indeed for coming.